I really appreciate how respectful you guys were of my time prior to this meeting by not bombarding me with emails after I sent that school messenger out last week. Thank you very much. I hope I'm able to answer a ton, if not all of your questions with tonight's presentation. I do want to start though by saying the goal is clear. We are going to Disney in April, but we don't have all of the details yet for two very important reasons. We want to provide the absolute best experience possible for your kids, but we also want to be mindful of the finances. So we're still waiting on some details to come in. We're waiting for a couple airlines to release their seats and their prices for that timetable. We're waiting to see what kind of fundraising we're able to do, to see what kind of add-ons we're doing. So there are going to be some details that I'm not going to be able to give you tonight, but I can promise you along the way, we're going to update you with all of that information as it comes in. So the tentative itinerary, we are going during April vacation. We are going to be there for 5 days and 4 nights. 1 week prior to the trip, we're going to have, it's going to be a fairly long meeting, probably around 2 hours or so the week before, but that's an opportunity to connect with your chaperones, your chaperone groups, the nurses, finalize any and all details with how we're going to be getting down there, what we're going to be doing while we're down there. We will have absolutely everything in place by that meeting, hopefully significantly beforehand. But the first day of travel, we're going to fly down, we're going to spend some time in a park or doing an activity. And then day 2, 3, or 4, we are going to spend a day in Magic Kingdom, and the marching band is going to perform Marching Down Main Street in Magic Kingdom. That has been approved by the Mouse. We are going to have an orchestra performance and a chorus performance, most likely at Disney Springs, and then we are going to spend some time in another park. One of those 3 days in the middle is going to be entirely spent at a park. So we know what the middle of the trip's going to look like. The beginning's travel and park, and the end is hopefully some AM time in a park and some PM plane travel. Again, some of these details are, once we finalize those plane tickets, what time we're leaving, that kind of stuff. That'll determine sort of which park we go to. We're not going to go to one of the big parks on day 5 and only be there for 2 hours before having to head to the airport. So those are the kind of details that I'm talking about that we're going to finalize. Hotel accommodations. We are staying off of Disney property. I know that's different from what's been done in the past, but I think it does provide us some advantages. Travel to and from the airport and parks are going to be by charter bus, so we're all staying together. As convenient as Disney transportation is, it's messy. Making sure everybody gets to and from. How many of you have been to Disney before and know what I'm talking about with Disney transportation? So 125 kids plus chaperones. Yeah, so this way we've got chartered buses that are there just for us, and we're going to be traveling together. The hotel rooms are going to be 4 students to a room. We're going to coordinate those room assignments. The music department's going to be doing that, not the TMA, just to let you know. And we are going to give all of that information out after that second payment. We are going to give students an opportunity to make requests of who they should be rooming with, and then we'll work out the details, which is why we're doing that early on. The rooms that we're staying in, they're studio rooms. There are 2 queen beds, but they also have a small lounge area and a kitchenette. And I'm not saying that so that we're eating DiGiorno at 3 in the morning. I'm saying that because, and we are not eating DiGiorno at 3 in the morning. Please don't pack a frozen pizza. I'm saying that to let you know that there's going to be floor space, so a recommendation might be bring some air mattresses. They're not provided by the hotel, but if we're concerned about sleeping on the floor or something like that, bring an air mattress. I'll make sure on the equipment truck we have some pumps, or you can bring your own pump, so it's a little bit easier. Or you could do good old-fashioned tuba play or lung power. And then you can play rock, paper, scissors for who's got the bed and who's got the air mattress each night. Breakfasts are going to be at the hotel. They're going to be in the hotel's private dining room, and they are provided in the cost of the trip. There's also going to be private security on duty while we're there in the hotel, and it's really such an incredibly short amount of time that we're in the hotel compared to the rest of the trip. For sleeping and showering, we're going to be getting in late after whatever theme park special event they have at night, whether it be fireworks or a light show or whatever we're doing. We're going to be getting there late, just enough time for a couple folks to shower, everybody to sleep, and then wake up, a couple folks to shower, and then head to breakfast. So we're not doing the pool, we're not doing the gym, we're not taking a jog down downtown Orlando. I'm going to be putting this presentation online after we're done, not just the video of my presentation, but also this Google slide presentation. So there's a link to the hotel we're staying in if you want those specific details. It also has some pictures of the rooms that we'll be in. Uniforms, instruments, and stuff. We will have an equipment truck. So uniforms and instruments are going to go on the equipment truck. So that means that we do not need to worry about packing them, which is nice. Flights are going to allow a suitcase and a carry-on, maybe a personal item. Again, that's one of those details that we'll be able to finalize once we have all of the carriers that we're going on for those plane rides. So pack the essentials, leave room for souvenirs, because the truck will not be bringing back anyone's Disney purchases. So those custom lightsabers and astromech droids, you're on your own bringing them back. Parents are welcome to meet their child in whatever assigned park we are for the day. So you travel down separately, you know we're in Magic Kingdom on a Tuesday. You're more than welcome to purchase your own tickets to the Magic Kingdom on Tuesday. Especially if you're a band parent, you'll be able to see them marching down Main Street. But students are not allowed to follow a separate itinerary for this trip. So you're either performing in with the trip or you're not. Those are the two options. That being said, students, if your parents meet you in a park, it's a great opportunity to request more money and maybe have them take home the custom lightsaber and astromech droid for you. Chaperones. We are going to have chaperone groups of roughly 20 students, and there's going to be 2 chaperones per group. Each group is going to have 1 music staff member as a chaperone and 1 volunteer as a chaperone. So even if the music staff member is not your child's performing ensemble director, it's still an adult that they've seen in the building and they know and they can talk to. The chaperones are responsible for room checks, park check-ins. Park check-ins aren't going to be anything too complicated. We know it could be 3 hours waiting in line for a ride, and we don't want to interrupt that, but it's going to be a, hey, plan your time accordingly. We expect to meet up at the castle at 2 p.m., kind of a thing. And the chaperones may be parents, but they're not your parents' students, so they're not going to be holding onto your money for you. They're not going to be holding onto your personal effects for you. Just keep that in mind. They're very helpful, but be responsible for your own things. And again, the chaperones are going to be music department school staff, and they're also going to be TMA board members. These are the people that are most familiar with your students and most familiar with the trip and what we're doing. So they're going to be the ones that are in the best position going down to be able to make this a fantastic and safe trip for everybody. This is not a vacation for chaperones. They're going to be working. They're going to be getting up before the kids get up. They're going to be working all day, and then they're going to be going to bed after the kids go to bed. It's a lot. So thank you for those of you who are going to be doing that with us. And again, we are going to have a meeting a week beforehand, and this is an opportunity to meet the chaperones, connect with them. Also gives you an opportunity to connect with nurses and finalize whatever details we're thinking of. Speaking of nurses, we are going to have 2 who are district nurses. We are going to have Christine Collins and Kate Sherman-DeRoche. Christine is right here with us. She's going to stand up and wave because she's awesome. And she is a trip veteran, so she's done this job before for this exact trip. So we're very excited that she volunteered her time to come down and do this with us. So medications are going to be handled by the nurses, and they're going to be handled just like they are during the school day. And they're going to be locked in the room safe in the nurses' rooms. So they are secured. So additional paperwork is going to be needed to be done in advance for nurses to review. We'll get you that information later. That's a later thing, but I just wanted to give you a heads up on it. We are going to be expecting that with the final trip payment in February. That's going to give the nurses enough time to review it all and get everything in order. So nurses are going to travel with the groups, but they're not going to be attached to a specific chaperone group. So they are additional adults on the trip so that they can deal with and help whatever students they need to help and not be leaving any other students in the lurch. Nurses are going to keep individual students' parents updated should any medical issue arise. And obviously, I'm going to defer to their medical expertise should anything need to be escalated. Obviously, we hope not, but they're there to help. I just wanted to throw up Disney's COVID policy. By visiting Walt Disney World Resort, you voluntarily assume all risks related to exposure to COVID-19. So that's what Disney has on their website. Just wanted to share that with you. Payment timeline. First payment due tonight, $600, non-refundable. Second payment is due Monday, November 14th. Wanted to give time between the first payment and the second payment, and it's going to be half of the remaining balance, approximately $800. The final payment is due Monday, February 13th. We did not want to put one of those payments during December or January, and that's going to be the final remaining balance, which again is approximately $800. And again, we're dealing with ballparks because, as you know, travel is very expensive, plane tickets are very expensive, so we're trying to find the best fit for us in terms of what we need and what we know we can afford. Fundraised money earmarked for your child's trip can apply to any of these scheduled payments. So a few of you with younger high school students weren't quite sure maybe what was going on the tables out in the lobby. If students have done some fundraising in the past, they have money in the TMA account that has been earmarked for them for travel. So if, for example, there's $125 in your child's account, that means tonight, total is $600, you only need to write a check for $475. That's how that works. Combination of previously fundraised money and what you can pay. Just FYI, fundraised money is TMA money, excuse me, that is earmarked for your child's trip. It is not your money, but it can be applied for the trip. Direct payments to the TMA specifically for your trip can be refundable. Beyond the initial payment, depending on when the refund is requested and what has already been purchased. There's a prorated refund timeline. What all those words mean is we have our payment timeline, and at some point you may need to make the decision that your child cannot go on the trip. Past the $600, if we've gone past the roughly $800 second payment, at that point, Four Winds, the company we use to organize these trips for us, has already purchased some things on your child's behalf. They may have already purchased a plane ticket. They may have already purchased park tickets. They may have already purchased hotel reservations. If Four Winds has already made those purchases on your child's behalf, even though it's past the $600, that money is not refundable. Already been purchased on your kid's behalf. Whatever has not already been spent by TMA past the initial $600, then we can refund. That being said, there is the option to purchase trip insurance. And there's two options for you. There's basic coverage for $68, and that's anything unexpected and unforeseen. If something unfortunately were to happen, if you purchase this, you would file a claim with that insurance company. And there's a website, we'll send you a link if you want to purchase it. Fill out the paperwork, provide proof through that paperwork of whatever qualifying event, and you'll get 100% of the trip cost back minus the cost of the insurance. Another option is cancel for any reason coverage. It's a little bit more money. However, this does allow you to cancel for up to 48 hours before we leave for any reason, and you don't need to back it up with paperwork. You'll only get 75% of your money back, but that's still significantly more than nothing at all. Keeping in mind that refund is going to be split between the money that you paid directly and the money that your child fundraised through the TMA. So for example, if you paid the full price of, we'll say $2,200, $1,500 of that was fundraised, and you filed the claim for $2,200 through proof of payment and the receipts you're getting through the TMA, the insurance company would see that $700 of that would go to you and $1,500 of that would go to the TMA, or whatever the percentage is that they're dealing with here. So I'm finalizing the details of this coverage with the travel company as we speak. Once I have that link, which is probably going to be early tomorrow morning, I will add that to this presentation that again is going to be posted. I'll also make sure that that link gets on the FAQ page that TMA has set up, as well as the TMA website. We'll get that information to you. I can email it too. The cancel for any reason coverage needs to be purchased by next Friday. The basic coverage can be purchased all the way up until that final trip payment in February, but before whatever qualifying event. Speaking of fundraising opportunities, the TMA has a fundraising subcommittee They've been working incredibly hard to provide as many fundraising opportunities as possible for these kids, and they've got some really exciting things lined up. There's some really big opportunities, and these are the two that the TMA is going to touch upon in a few minutes. One of which we're going to give you a lot of details about tonight because it's going to start for students on Friday. This has traditionally been a huge fundraiser. It gains a lot of money to trip accounts. It's the calendar, the raffle calendar fundraiser. Like I said, it starts this Friday. It goes through next October. There are families who in the past have funded their entire trip through the calendar fundraiser. Some folks choose to buy $1,000 worth of calendars. Not that they're getting that many calendars. You do not need to get a physical calendar for each one that you purchase, but it gives you a chance for raffles. That being said, if you purchase $1,000 worth of calendars, you are purchasing $1,000 worth of raffle tickets from the TMA. That is not considered a direct payment to the TMA, therefore that money cannot be refundable. I hope I'm making that clear. I know I have to make a really clear delineation with that. The next big opportunity is a mattress fundraiser. I know it sounds weird, but it's awesome. It's Sunday, November 13th. It's at the middle school. The day of the event isn't as big of a deal. We're going to need some kids and some folks to help, but it's all the work done prior to that event. Brian's going to go over a little bit of that coming up, but there's an opportunity for not just the students, but the TMA to earn a lot of money through this. Brand new, what are the phrases? Brand new, name brand, factory warranty, discounted mattresses. So if you know anyone that's looking to replace a mattress or two in the next few months, tell them to wait until November 13th. They also get delivered to your house. Smaller opportunities, but they add up, are things such as tagging. A lot of local businesses have allowed us to have students there asking for donations to help out. There's a sign-up sheet for that. And restaurant nights, the first one is tomorrow night at Applebee's in Haverhill. I believe they've got one scheduled each month moving forward at different establishments. There's a Van Otis chocolate fundraiser. They'll send details about that. Same thing with the Thanksgiving Pies fundraiser. There's also going to be the traditional raffles that we have at our holiday concerts, and there's going to be a whole lot more. So through these fundraisers, both large and small, TMA is trying incredibly hard to provide your children with opportunities to earn money earmarked for their trip, so less that you have to pay out of pocket. So it's one of those things, the more time and effort and energy they put into it, the less you're going to have to pay. If you're a busy family and you can swing it, you could pay for the entire trip tonight in a check if you wanted to. Well, most of what we know it's going to be. Apologies again for not having that specific information. Or we can work our tails off and fundraise it. That being said, Dina, are you ready?
I told Kurt not to give me a microphone because I think I'm a stand-up comedian and I'm not very funny, so. Oh, okay.
I got my own microphone. We can ad-lib if you want. No. I'm Brian Stack. I'm the president of the TMA. Thanks for being here tonight. I just want to explain the relationship that TMA has with all of this so that you guys understand kind of the differences. So TMA is acting as the fiscal agent, essentially, for this trip. That means you're paying us the money for the trip. We, in turn, are making deposits for the trip, which we've already started doing. All right, so that's really our role, which is why we do a lot of the fundraising. We're holding on to people's earmarked fund balances from fundraisers, but when it comes to the trip questions, this is a music department trip sponsored by the school district. So all the trip questions you can send Mr. Schweiss's way. Any of the questions about fundraising or making payments or refunds or all of that stuff, you can send our way. And we definitely encourage you to use our email address, which is all over the place on our website and Facebook and et cetera, because when you do that, when you email us at TMA, everybody on the board, all 5 of us get it, and we've got a system to try to farm out who's doing what, because as you can imagine, there's a lot of logistics to this trip. So Dina's going to talk a little bit about the calendar fundraiser, which is actually an annual event that we do every year, but we know this year, especially where it's a trip year, There's going to be a lot of moving parts to it and a lot of sales, so we want to make sure people understand what we're doing, and it looks a little different too. So go ahead, Dina.
Thank you. All right, so how many people did the calendar fundraiser last year? So you kind of have an idea of what we're doing. How many newbies do we have? All right, okay. So it's going to be kind of overwhelming. If you have questions, my email address or not my email address, the TMA email address is on the flyers. My phone number is on the flyers. Try not to call me at 2 a.m., please. The difference between last year and this year, in particular, is that if you saw the calendar last year, it was 12 months. It was kind of big. We've tried to streamline it a little bit because of costs of printing. So the calendar is going to just be a one flip thing of the full year for the calendar. It'll make it easier for us to get advertisers and to help pay for this. All of your students on Friday, when they get all of the information, will get a sample calendar. So when they go to grandma and grandpa or around the neighborhood, they can show people what they would be getting physically. Sorry, pick that up. There were a couple flyers that were out there. One was the information sheet, and the other one was the prize list. So not every day, but most days there's a $15 prize. There's some bigger prizes on New Year's Day and Mother's Day and Valentine's Day. And every time someone purchases a calendar, whether it's physical or whether it's just a chance, they get put into a number list, and we pull out of a random generator online a number, and that person wins whatever the prize is for that day. So it's a really good opportunity to have people buy these because there's some pretty big chances. I don't know how many people have gotten checks and won, but Brian won a big one. I swear it wasn't rigged.
No, I bought $1,000 worth of calendars last year. I played my odds, so it's a good strategy, folks. I'm just saying.
So for those of you that don't know, the calendar price is $15. So your purchasers will pay $15 for the calendar, the physical calendar, or the chance. They can buy as many chances or as many calendars as they want. There's no limit, and encourage them to buy a lot. The big takeaway, though, is that we want you to collect the payments, the individual payments, and then either write us one big check or send us a Venmo payment. And I want to make sure that it's clear that we are only using Venmo for our fundraisers, not for trip payments tonight. So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear. It's a lot easier for us to figure out where the money should be earmarked to if we're just getting one check instead of getting, $15 checks from your buyers. All of the information, all of the flyers, all of the things will be on your students' Google Classroom on Friday. If they've done it before, they hopefully know how to navigate it, but you're gonna have a order form, not printed. It will be in a Google spreadsheet. Please try and fill it out on the electronic version and not print this out and write it out. The biggest reason is because if you put in your name, the names of people, the addresses, etc., and I can't read it, the person who wins is not going to get their check. So it's a lot easier if this is all typed up and sent to us. It makes my life easier, please. So what the students will have to do is they'll have to download the Google spreadsheet and download it to their computer, or they can make a copy to their Google Classroom. Please make sure that they know that they can't just share it with us because there's no sharing capabilities from student Timberlane accounts to outside. So they have to send it through they have to download it and send it to us through email. I think that is about it for this. I did a video last year, and I don't think anybody watched it, so hopefully people watch this one. Oh, the last one, sorry. The physical calendars, once we have an accurate count of how many people have bought calendars and actual calendars, we will get them printed, and they will be distributed at the December concert, which is December 11th? Sometime around there. They'll be distributed at that concert, so you'll get a big stack of however many calendars you are going to hand out to your people. The TMA does not send calendars to your purchasers. The only reason we need their phone numbers, addresses, and all that is so that we can send them a check if they win. That's that.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Schweiss touched upon some of the other fundraisers. He did a good job with that. I'll give you just a couple of other details to note. First of all, we recognize the trip is incredibly expensive. Don't discount that. We know that people haven't had as much opportunity to fundraise, so we are trying to make sure there's plenty of opportunities for people that want to do that. I want you to recognize some of the fundraisers go directly to your trip accounts, some are general. All right, so like we have restaurant fundraisers happening, actually tomorrow night. We have one at Uno's, and we'll have Applebee's, sorry I said Uno's, Applebee's. And we'll have one every month. Those are gonna be for general trip funds, because we're gonna hopefully take that money and vote to do some special things on the trip for the kids. Whether it's buy them a meal, take them to a show, something like that. A lot of them though, like the calendars, like mattresses, those are gonna be trip account specific, right? This is an easy one, folks. Seriously, if you know somebody who needs a mattress, or if you need a mattress and you can get them to show up on the 13th and they buy a mattress, you're gonna make an average of $100 in sales. It's a little less and a little more depending on what size mattress they get, but this can be an incredibly successful fundraiser. We did this, I was the principal at Sanborn High School for, oh my gosh, almost 2 decades. We ran this fundraiser, did very well. Londonderry High School did this last year. They made $90,000, no,
I think it,
$20,000.
yeah.
But they've made $85,000.
That's what it was. That's right, that's what it was. So I mean, there's significant amount of money to be made for this. Like Mr. Schweiss says, the day of the event is pretty low key. The company is here, they're doing all their sales. Their name brand mattresses at discount prices. That's pretty much what you have to tell people. We'll use some kids. Somebody's going to wear the mattress suit. Do I have a volunteer? Who's going to? Mr. Cartwright, thank you. We'll wear the mattress suit that day. He's looking at me like. But it's a fun event. Tagging in the sign up. There's in the fundraising document, which is plastered all over the place online. You can sign up for tagging on Columbus Day weekend. That'll be another great opportunity to earn some money. Just to put it in perspective, how much money can you possibly make standing outside for one weekend in Plastow with cans? Plastow baseball made $10,000 last spring, okay? So there's a lot of money to be made with this, and pretty much it's very easy. You sign up for a shift, and we have all kinds of different shifts, starting as early as 9 a.m., going all the way to 5 p.m., and they're all staggered shifts so that there'll always be 2 people at every location, but somebody will always be coming and going every hour. So there's a bit of overlap there, but we're gonna pool all the money that's collected all weekend at all the locations and divide it by the number of shifts that were manned, and everybody's going to get a payment for a shift. So if you do 2 shifts, you'll get 2 payments. Does that make sense? So there's not like an incentive to, oh, I wanna get a really busy time slot because I'll make more money. No, it's everybody's gonna share it. So put in your time, and we also have plenty of locations. So we've loaded locations right now for Walmart, let's see, Walmart, Market Basket, Shaw's, Dollar Tree, and Petco are in there right now that you can select, and if all those slots fill up, we have other businesses that will add in. So we have plenty of slots for people. Sign up as much as you want for that. I feel like I was going to say something about one of the other fundraisers, and now it's escaping me.
Please come out tomorrow night to Applebee's for the restaurant fundraiser. It's the first one that we have lined up, and it's a good excuse to not cook.
Yeah, the last thing I was going to say, because I don't know if Mr. Schweiss is going to give us the microphone at the end, and I know he's got a couple more things to cover, but at the end, when it comes to making payments in the back, If you know for a fact that you just want to hand us a check and go, you do not need to wait in line, we will have someone that is just collecting checks, provided you put your child's name in the memo and you hand us the check legibly so that we can follow that. You're good to go and you don't need a receipt. You can just hand it and walk out the door. If you want to talk to one of us because you want to take a look at the trip account, or you're not sure what the amount is, or you want us to give you a receipt, we're happy to do that for you, but there may be a bit of a line. So this way there's an express for those that just are like, I'll just give you my check and go. Sound good? I'm going to turn it back to Mr. Schweiss then.
Thank you very much. And there's an incredible amount of people in the TMA leadership that have been working really, really hard to make this just a fantastic experience for your kids and to help defray some of the cost of that. So you met two of them. Anybody else in the TMA leadership who's in the room right now, please stand up. We give them a round of applause for all the work they've done. Thank you. And you're going to see as this process rolls out and as the second and third payments come due, how much is actually going to be going into your child's travel account based on that fundraising. It's really, really going to help. So thank you for all of that work. So not all of the answers, but I hope a lot more information. And I hope that our goal is coming slightly more into focus than where we started at the beginning of the meeting. And then for accessing this presentation afterward, I do have some important links here. So the TMA webpage is getting updated frequently. There is a fundraising doc that has details about all of the fundraisers and links to sign up that Brian mentioned. There's also a Disney FAQ page, and we are updating. It's a live document, so as questions come in, either to the TMA email address or to myself personally, if it's a question that can be answered and benefit the whole group, then that's getting updated in that FAQ page. So keep these pages bookmarked. They're going to provide you with an incredible amount of information along the way. If you haven't already, please follow the TMA Facebook page. Please follow the Timberlane Music Department Facebook page. We do try and get as much information out via social media as we can, because that's the things we do now. And that being said, I want to go back to this picture. I'm more than happy to entertain questions for everyone. But again, I want to be as respectful of everyone's time as possible. So if you feel like your question can be answered individually, I'm going to be here for a while. So feel free to hang out and I'll answer your question individually. If there's a question that you feel would benefit the whole group, more than happy to address it in this forum. Yes? The hotels? Yeah, I can do that. Like I said too, this presentation is going to be, oh no, we're not doing that. This presentation is going to be available afterward. Oh, but I have to do that. Cool. See, it's all fancy when you're doing the presentation, but then when you get to access the information afterward, there we go. Yes? Sure.
So, if you buy the $60 one, you kept talking about the $600 that you paid and it's not refundable. Is it now refundable?
So the question is, if we purchase the travel insurance, whether it be the $68 basic or the cancel for any reason insurance, is the $600 that's non-refundable that's due tonight thus refundable? And the answer is yes. The reason why we're attaching the word non-refundable to today's payment is if we choose not to, since that's a choice for each family. If we choose not to purchase that, then that money needs to go to the TMA to make the payments to the company that have already started making purchases for the whole group for this trip. Yep. Yes.
Another insurance question.
Sure.
If we purchase either of those, is that the type of insurance that gives me a credit, or does it refund you monetarily?
Based on the conversation, oh, sorry, the question is it a policy that gives you credit or is it a policy that pays you money? My answer is I sort of know. Based on the conversation that I had with the agent today, they're going to pay you money, but that's an assumption I'm making. So what I'll do is I will follow up in an email and I will add the answer to that question to the FAQ page. Sorry, I don't have a specific answer for you right now, but I will definitely get an answer to that question. Thank you.
And this presentation, you said, is gonna be made available where?
I'll put it out through the Timberlane Music Department webpage, or Facebook page, sorry, and then I'm sure the TMA will also share that page, and I'm sure they'll also put a link to it on their webpage. The question was sharing this presentation, where to access it. Student questions? I didn't say anything about student questions. Yes. So as of now, the videos that we sent down, because we had to send audition videos down, the question is if they have to wear their uniforms, their normal concert uniforms at their performances. And the short answer right now is yes. The videos that we sent down and got approved by Disney were us performing in those uniforms, because those are the only uniforms that we perform in. Should we decide to change the attire that we're performing in, and I'm not saying that's off the table, we would then need to essentially amend the application. So if that's something that we feel very passionate about, I'm happy to entertain that and go through the procedure to change that. But just to let you know, there is a procedure involved in changing that. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. More student questions. What's up?
So for the marching, are we wearing our marching uniforms or the concert?
So the question is the marching band wearing marching uniforms or concert uniforms? We will be wearing our marching uniforms. But again, those are heading down in the equipment truck, so it's not like you need to please don't fold it and put it in a suitcase. We'll bring that down for you. Yes?
Is it definite that they're going to be marching in the parade on that Tuesday?
That is currently, the question is, are we marching on Tuesday? That is currently the date that we have assigned to us. But again, part of the flux with the 5 days that we're down there is with that plane travel. So yes, that's what we've been approved for, and that's 95% what's going to happen. But just because of that tiny percentage of, if we can get incredibly cheap tickets for whatever, we might need to have that move. But again, I'm going to try and get that definite answer to you as soon as possible. Again, it's just, I feel so bad that I can't answer those specific questions, but it's really the plane tickets. I mean, they're incredibly expensive, and part of the reason for that, just to give you a little bit behind the scenes, is we're not just purchasing the same type of ticket that you would purchase if you were going to fly down to Disney with your family. It's a specific class of tickets because we're dealing with 100+ people, and they only offer so many of those tickets on individual flights. And because they know you're traveling as a group, they tend to charge a little bit more for them. The only alternative is to put, 4 kids to a flight on 20 different flights, 30 different flights, and that's really not an option. So again, I apologize that it's not nailed down, but we're trying to balance experience for the kids with being understanding of the cost to you. Yes?
If you're chaperoning in the park with 10 students, are you supposed to stay together at all times throughout the day?
So the question is, when they're in the park in the chaperone groups, do they need to stay as a group in the park the entire day? The answer is no. We are going to give them a little bit of freedom in terms of going around the park. Obviously, we're going to expect them to adhere to the buddy system, and the chaperone groups are based off of the rooming assignments, so we're expecting there's going to be a buddy or two in each of those chaperone groups. There are going to be some check-ins during the day. There's going to be some technology check-ins. There's going to be some physical check-ins. And again, we're trying to balance understanding that we have to go on this ride, but there's a 3.5-hour wait for this ride. If you know you're supposed to physically meet up with your chaperone at 2 p.m., don't get in line at 1:30, kind of a thing. So there's a balance, but there are going to be some physical check-ins, but there's also going to be some flexibility. Yes?
Tuesday's marching down Main Street, or is that not been decided yet?
That is marching down Main Street. The marching band is confirmed and approved to march down Main Street in the Magic Kingdom. Yes.
So for the calendar fundraisers, it's not definite that people will get counted, but it's definite that they need to go with the route.
So the question is, for the calendar fundraiser, definite that people are gonna go into the raffle, but not definite they're gonna get a physical calendar, that's their choice. So if it's someone who's ordering one calendar, yeah, there are pictures, there are advertisers on the calendar. They're probably gonna want a physical calendar. It's nice to put it on the wall. If it's Grandma Jones in New Jersey that's ordering 100 calendars, I don't think she really wants 100 calendars. So you can purchase however many physical calendars that she wants. Maybe it's 5, so there can be one in every room of the house. Maybe it's 0. I don't want any calendars, just give me the raffle chances. Either way, that's a conversation for who you sell the calendar to, and that's their choice. Yes.
So on
Eh, eh, eh. Oh, it's for the video. It's for the video. I do see there's a question up there. I will get to you.
So on the form, there is a spot for the number of calendars that are going to be purchased and then the number of printed calendars. Please fill out both spots because last year there were some places where someone didn't fill out the printed calendar and I had to either guess yay or nay on whether or not we were going to print them. So if you're purchasing one and you want it printed, please mark it off in both columns. And that way we'll know whether or not people just want the chances or people want the physical calendars.
Thank you. Question up top? So, like I said, we're going to outline. The question is, don't know or feel comfortable sleeping with the folks in the other room. We're going to outline that process after that second payment. And if once all of the rooming assignments come out, individual students or families have concerns, bring those concerns to me and we'll work through it. We're gonna find the best possible fit scenario. Is every student going to be able to be in a hotel room with the 3 other top 100% choices that they have? No, it just doesn't work that way. But we can maneuver things to, again, be as best fit as possible. You're welcome. Yes? You did not miss that. I did not include that. The question is transportation to and from the airport on either end. We will be busing from here to the airport. And then we will bus from the airport to here when we come back. So drop off and pick up is going to be from the Performing Arts Center. Thank you. Yes?
Hi. Will there be any, like, live streaming or videoing of the performances to be seen at a later time?
So in the past, parents have done personal videos. I know I can chat, I'm so sorry. The question is, I have to do this for the video. The question is there going to be any video recordings or live streaming of the performances as they take place down in there? I know parents typically live stream on their Facebook page or they take their own videos. We have lots and lots of archive videos from parents. I haven't given a whole lot of thought yet to having staff members assigned to doing that, but that's a good idea. So once I take a look at what the final itinerary is and which chaperones are going to be in certain places, I can see about assigning a staff member to doing that or asking a staff member to do that. Regardless, I think there's going to be tons of footage of all of the performances. Yes? So the question is, are they going to the parks just with their ensembles or with their chaperone groups? The short answer is most of the time it's your chaperone groups, but on the day where, because everyone's going to Magic Kingdom the day the marching band performs, so we're all in the same park at the same time. There's the other day where the orchestra and the chorus is performing at Disney Springs, where those ensembles are going to be at Disney Springs. So we're just going to need to look and divide the chaperone groups to make sure there's enough chaperones in the park for the band kids who are in the park and enough chaperones for the performers who are performing. And then at the end of that performance, all of the students who are performed are then going to go to the park. So we're all going to end in the park at the end of that day. Yep, so the question is about selecting folks for the hotel rooms. And again, we'll go over the process in November, but there is going to be an opportunity for you to provide to the department a list of folks who you would prefer to be into your hotel room. And we're going to try our best to do the top preferences of every student. But again, it's impossible to get perfection, but we're going to try and get it as close as possible. So we're not just going to blindly assign. We are going to ask for your input to help make it as good as possible for everybody. Yep.
Breakfast is included, what about lunches, dinners?
So-
What are the costs of the foods in the park?
Yeah, so the question is, I mentioned breakfast is included at the hotels, but what about other meals? Dinner in the parks, there are vouchers, so the only meals are going to be snacks or lunch. And it is a theme park. I have not gone to Disney in several years, but I would assume $20 to $25 for a meal, per meal. And then whatever, so that additional money for snacks and for lunch and for souvenirs, maybe $150, $200 added on to the cost of the trip. Sorry, that's not factored in. Any other questions? Yes? So they have a stage right in the center of Disney Springs. I think it's by Legoland, maybe? If I remember correctly. The question is, where in Disney Springs are they going to be performing? There is a performance stage with professional sound equipment. It really is a beautiful performance space. There's a lake behind you. It's awesome. Yes?
Will room assignments be segregated or co-ed?
Segregated. Room assignments, segregated. Valid. So now we're getting close to the school mandated awkward hang time for requesting questions. Yes?
What days for?
So as of now, the orchestra and the choruses are scheduled to go on Wednesday. As of now, again, that's 95% certain. We're still, like I said, playing with those plane tickets just to figure out the absolute best 5 days to be down there. Yes, thank you. The question is, will I have everything finalized, or at least the trip itinerary finalized before the second payment, as in terms of which days the kids are performing? Do I have that correct? Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna try to get as much finalized as soon as possible. The big piece of missing information really was tonight, and how many people are here depositing money. That's going to determine a lot of what takes place. So I'm hoping to have a lot of this finalized in the next month, hopefully by that second payment. All right, we've hit the awkward hang time for the questions. Half of the audience is already leaving.
Folks, remember, if you just want to make an express payment, check in hand, you can hand it out to me out there. Make sure the child's name is in the memo. If you have questions, we'll have folks set up at the table that you can ask, all right?
Thank you so very much for coming tonight. So excited to be able to do this after 6 years. Thank you.